Mexico's benchmark index is up about 20% this year, just year to date. That is double the gains of the S&P 500. It outflanks what we've seen in Canadian stock markets as well. And joining us right now to talk about the Mexican market, the geopolitical backdrop, is Jorge Alegria. He is the CEO of the Mexican Stock Exchange. Jorge, thank you for coming in today. It's really great to see you.
Becky, it's my privilege to be here. Thank you very much. Good morning.
You know, it's shocking to think that the Mexican stock market is up by 20% when you think about the tariffs and the change in trade policies. What's happening?
Well, yes, and also if you consider the movement of the Mexican Stock Exchange Index, and then the currency is also strong, so that gives close to 30% return in dollar terms. So it's doing well. I think what we are seeing in the Mexican market is we are benefiting from a reallocation of funds from developed markets to emerging markets.
Meaning that there are funds that are coming your way that would have gone where before? Where do you think you're stealing market share from, essentially?
Basically in the U.S. and developed markets.
Yeah.
So they're moving to emerging markets.
Why?
Diversification. And I think also valuation-wise, the emerging markets are offering also attractive valuations for global investors now.
Yeah, J.P. Morgan and others have said that 2026 is expected to be a very strong year for the Mexican stock market as well.
Yes.
What are the challenges you face? You're looking at trying to make sure you can bring more and more businesses onto listing on the Mexican Stock Exchange. What do you run up against?
Well, we are investing a lot in technology to keep up with what we are seeing in other markets in terms of development. So we are rebuilding and refurnishing all the post-trade operations for the exchange to be ready to cope to international flows. And also the technology in terms of speed, provide access to international players in the same way they access the U.S. markets or European markets. They need to access the Mexican market with the same capacity, the same speed, the same technology, basically. So this is where we are putting a lot of attention and money.
You were here yesterday at the NASDAQ ringing the opening bell. Does the NASDAQ see you as a competitor? Are you working with them on anything? Why would they allow you to do that?
It's an interesting thing because, yes, in general, we see NASDAQ as an ally. They provide us with technology for the post-trade. We are also upgrading our derivatives platform with NASDAQ technology. And we have this alliance with them. Also, we have a strong business relationship with CME Group. We just licensed our benchmark index, the Mexican S&P IPC index, to be traded as a future in CME as well. So we, in the Mexican market, we need to establish this kind of alliances with international players to attract foreign investment into the Mexican market as well.
How big of a challenge has that been over time? You're here in New York this week, also with a lot of meetings. What are the goals of those meetings?
This is the so-called Mexican Investment Week. So yesterday we had a private equity full day of meetings. Private equity in Mexico has been thriving as well. And what we see is, well, all these huge investments that have been made for the last 10 years or so, the best way out for some of them is the Mexican listed market. So this is like the playbook, right? But we need that to happen in
They can list on the Mexican Stock Exchange rather than here. Why would they do that?
The Mexican companies, because they are in Mexico, their customer base is in Mexico. So it's good for them also to have the financial visibility in Mexico. And there's nothing wrong to do a dual list. So what we have done in a very successful way is a Mexican company listing in the U.S. market and also in Mexico. Yeah, and that gives visibility in both markets and take advantage of Mexico open economy, free flows. So that's I think the best.
I just have a question since you're talking free flows.
Yeah, free flows.
A lot of free flows.
Yeah, but new highs in that
right.
market.
But how you think about tariffs? Hey, look, BYD sells in Mexico, right? You can get.
Yep, pretty much.
Do you believe 10 years from now that Mexico will even make cars? If BYD can sell into Mexico, I assume at car prices that are competitive, if not more than competitive, what that's going to do to everybody else in the marketplace. I mean, that's sort of the idea here in the United States, which is we're putting tariffs on things because we think we actually can't compete, to be honest with you.
I think we are starting to see, we are in an early stage of this adjustment in flows, right? Between the Mexican economy and the rest of the world. So still, if you see in terms of trade, I mean, the Mexican trade activity with the U.S. is huge. Right? It will be continued. The amount of infrastructure, especially in the car industry in Mexico, is huge. Right? That will stay there for many, many years, and it's still growing.